So what are the other major issues as you see them with regard to health care where you think you could actually move the needle under your term?
Well, we've got so much opportunity to put in place a system that will actually work for patients, where patients and families and doctors are in charge of health care and not Washington, D.C. The president recognizes that the priorities of making certain that we've got a system that's affordable for everybody, that's accessible for everybody, that's of the highest quality and provides choices for patients. That's what the American people want and desire. Those are the principles of health care, almost regardless of your political stripe. Those are the principles of health care that are absolutely vital. At the same time, we're working on bringing down drug costs. We're working through getting our FDA commissioner in place and making certain that we're addressing one of the real challenges that the American people have. That's the high cost of drugs. The president, again, has made that an absolute priority. Through the CDC, we're working to make certain that we remain on the front lines from a disease standpoint, the pandemic, the potential for an influenza that could get out of control, H7N9 influenza that's present in China right now, and the CDC is doing all that we can to make certain that we keep the American people safe, while at the same time working on medications and potentially a vaccine for that would mitigate any challenge that we have. So we've got all sorts of things that we're working on, all on behalf of the president and his understanding and appreciation for the needs that the American people have.
Secretary Price, let me ask you about the structure of health care, because a lot of people wonder if that's why we see prices go skyrocketing. You know, the EpiPen situation comes to mind in terms of the price that families have to pay for these drugs or devices that they need so badly. The story of the moment, obviously, is Express Scripts said yesterday it does not expect Anthem, its biggest customer, to extend a pharmacy benefits management agreement slated to expire at the end of 2019. What's your take on the way things work? I mean, when you speak with the CEO of the maker of EpiPen, Mylan Lab, she will say it's because, you know, she's got to raise the price because there's so many pockets to give out money, including those pharmacy benefit managers. What's your take on the structure of the payment?
Well, that's part of the problem, but in fact, much of the problem is the fact that we aren't streamlining the opportunity for folks to get new drugs to market, and that's why I'm so excited about Scott Gottlieb and his potential confirmation by the United States Senate to come on board at FDA. What we need to do is look at the whole array of items that are driving up costs of drugs, whether it's a lack of competition, whether it's a lack of ability to have greater opportunity for importation of drugs, whether it's the streamlining through the process to make certain that we're not spending 10, 12, 14 years getting a drug to market. You know, Maria, you and I have talked about this in the past. The United States it spends the vast majority of the money that's necessary for research and development for the pharmaceutical arena for the world. And that's a trade issue. And so I'm so proud of the president when he talks about the need to make certain that trade is absolutely fair, and it's fair in all sorts of areas, and especially in the area of pharmaceuticals. That would do a huge thing to drive down the costs of medications for the American people.
In order to draw Democrats to the negotiating table on health care, I guess the president expressed his willingness to end Obamacare's cost-sharing reduction subsidies. But a recent study released by the Kaiser Family Foundation suggests that actually could backfire. It shows stopping payments may increase the U.S. government's costs by an estimated $2.3 billion in 2018, Mr. Secretary. Your reaction?
Yeah, the challenge with this is that if you stop those costs, then actually more individuals would need to be able to have the benefit of the tax credit from the federal government, and so it's a balancing act. It's a scale that has to be balanced. So we're working through that. The president's working through that. He's asked so many individuals for input on this to make certain that there's a positive solution. Again, so that we think about the patient at the end of the day. What are the costs that the patient's seeing? And again, right now, what patients are seeing in the individual and small group market, our premiums are up, deductibles are up, and choices and quality are down. And that's not acceptable to the president. That's not acceptable to us.
Absolutely. So what are your goals going forward then, Secretary? It's nice to look back at these 100 days, but we know that it's an arbitrary amount of time. So tell us where your focus is here, assuming we do, in fact, get a health care bill past the House in just the next couple of weeks.
We've got to stabilize the market, make certain that we have those insurers out there providing coverage for folks, options for folks to gain coverage. American people don't just want one choice. They don't want zero choices. They want an array of choices so that they can select what's best for them. We need to drive down the costs, make certain that it's affordable for every single American. And we need to make certain that the choices and the quality are there so that the American people are receiving the kind of care from the individuals that they want, the doctors and other providers that they want, not the ones that the government is directing them to go to. So we've got a great opportunity, and I'm excited about the table, as I mentioned, that has been set by the President, and look forward to continuing to work with him in very positive ways in the area of health care.
All of this while we're all living longer and focused on wellness as well.
That's exactly right. Wellness and prevention is so incredibly important, and that's where those choices come into play. The American people want to be the ones that are determining what kind of preventive program and wellness program they're able to select. Again, not the one that the government shoves down their throat, but the one that they want and is right for them and for their families.
Secretary Price, good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Maria.
We appreciate it. Secretary Price joining us.